Traveling to Egypt on a budget? Well, I'm going to teach you some tricks to save some money. First off, let's talk visa. You're most probably flying into Cairo. Depending on your passport, you might be able to get an e-visa or visa on arrival. As you come out of the plane and go up to the immigration, there's a little bank on the side and they sell you the visa for $25 US. It's recommended to have the cash. There's also an ATM, you can withdraw Egyptian dollars out. I actually paid for my visa on the spot with my Visa card. Okay, so a credit card paid for it, but I had to sort of talk to the guy and he was like, oh, okay, and he finally did it. This will already save you a bit of money because getting the e-visa online is more expensive. Yes, you have the reassurance of having the visa before you got there, but you can save money by doing it on the spot as you arrive. Now, as you've passed immigration, you got your bag, these taxi guys are gonna come at you. They're gonna be nicely dressed and they're gonna pretend they're official with this little badge or something that they've just printed out themselves, okay? These guys are not official, they're just the same as any other taxi person. They're gonna try to get you to your hotel for a lot more expensive than what you need to pay for. And this is assuming your hotel hasn't provided you with a pickup. When those taxi guys come at you, whoosh, because you're going to Uber, all right? I'm sending you to an Uber. Uber works in Cairo. It is your best friend. Make sure you have the app installed. Before you're going to even be able to order your Uber, you got to get your phone working. So there's two ways to do this. Either you've got a SIM card previously before coming to Egypt, and you can do that with an eSIM. You can buy it online. If your phone supports it, you can do it without actually the physical SIM card. Okay? I've found a few websites that do this. Just Google them online and you'll find some websites. Egypt's data is pretty poor. You don't get much data, but you only need 2 gigs if you know what you're doing. Otherwise, there are kiosks in the airport that you can go get a SIM card for. So get that done, and then you can access your Uber. The thing with Uber is that you need cash. Okay, my card did not work there, so have some Egyptian dollars with you. Use that ATM I told you about at the immigration, just before the immigration. Depending on what terminal you're at, what hall, Uber will be able to tell you, and just walk outside, find the Uber pickup zone, book your Uber to your hotel, okay? Guys are gonna come at you going, oh, you know, we've got a taxi service, and one guy even tried to tell me that Uber is not working, and it was a lie, okay? So don't trust these guys. Be polite, because some of them are just doing their job, right? Now off to your hotel. Now, depending on where you've booked, hopefully you've booked a hotel that has a good review. Even a good reviewed hotel, reviews can be manipulated. And that's by forcing the guest to give them a good review by that peer pressure. The hotel is going to sell you 2 different things. Tours and whatever they have on offer with the food there. You don't actually need a tour for most things in Egypt, but we'll talk about that more later. The hotels, restaurants are often overrated and maybe not so good, but you can get in your Uber and go to any restaurant in Cairo happily at any time, and that's the beauty of Uber. You can check the map for highly rated food in Cairo. Now, if you're on a super budget, you can eat the street food. Just be a little bit careful. You want something hot. You can get sick if you're eating lots of salads and stuff, you know, stuff that's sort of been washed with dirty water. I mean, these are the risks you run when you're going to a country like this. Now, you're most probably going to go to the pyramids, so let's talk about them. You don't need a tour guide. Don't listen to anything anybody says. You can get in your Uber and go right up to the gate and buy your ticket and go into the pyramid park. There's 2 entrances. I went to the one where there's the Sphinx, which was great. I recommend that. Don't listen to anybody outside. They're gonna try to sell you tour guides, all this stuff, and you just go, no, you buy your ticket. It's literally, it's cheap, it's $10 or $15. But at that gate, do buy the other tickets to go to things within the park, which is the 2 pyramids of actually going inside them. So you get all 3 tickets to everything at the gate, because you don't wanna be inside and go, oh, I don't have a ticket. You might spend up to like $40 US, and that'll just cover you for the whole day, and it's relatively cheap considering these 3,500 year old ancient ruins. Now, I hope you're here early because you want to be right as the gate opens. If you go at like 10, 11 o'clock, it's gonna be crowded, okay? You go here early in the morning. I think it's 8 a.m. is when I went. It might have changed. Check when the gates open and be there at the crack of dawn, and you'll have the most amazing experience of approaching these pyramids with nobody around. Inside the park, there's people gonna be trying to sell you things. Horse rides, tour guides, all sorts of things. You don't have to do any of them. However, be polite. Now, some of these guys are gonna be quite pushy, okay? But be polite. some of them are really cool, and it's okay to spend $10, $20 and they're gonna take you on a camel ride or a horse ride. You can negotiate with these guys. They're gonna try to push prices up crazy, but the one thing to remember is negotiate the price before you get on the ride. That is the #1 key. Do not get on the thing not knowing, because then they're gonna hold you ransom, okay? For as much money as they can get out of you. Negotiate the price first. And it may start off with a nice gesture, but be careful, because that nice gesture is actually a trap to get you involved with them, all right? Traveling within Egypt. Luckily, flights are really cheap. You can get on a flight for like $60, maybe even less, $40, and fly to Luxor or Aswan. You can also travel on a train. I went on an overnight train and I flew as well. So the overnight train was also quite affordable, but I think the flights is where it's at. Let's talk about Luxor. Unfortunately, Uber does not work there, but there's another app you can get called Cairo. Cairo is the same as Uber. You'll need cash to pay the driver. It's very cheap and you don't have to negotiate. Luxor has the Nile River that runs right through it. Each side of the river is called either the West Bank or the East Bank. The West Bank has some of the ancient ruins, such as Valley of the Kings. The East Bank has the wonderful Karnak and other temples. You'll need 2 or 3 days to explore around here. The Uber only works on the East Bank, so use it as much as you can over there, because when you hit the West Bank via boat, you'll have to use negotiation skills with taxi drivers and tuk-tuks. I found there was 2 ways to get across the river. One on a boat that will cost you more like $6 or $7, or you can go on the ferry, which is what the locals use more, and that's even cheaper, and you'll be spending anywhere between like $2 or something. It's very cheap. On the West Bank, you can negotiate with a taxi driver to get you to some of these ruins. They're all within about 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, and you'll be paying $5 to $10. These guys are going to try to negotiate themselves into your day by being your tour guide and being your go-to taxi driver, and they're going to keep talking about it. So it's up to you if you like that person that you can grab their phone number and call them up when you need a taxi. You start off high with them and then eventually you find out that they'll go anywhere for $5, okay? So if you want to find out what the actual price is, you have to do the negotiation where you keep going lower and lower, and if they don't take the price, you have to walk off, and eventually they'll yell out what the real price is. These guys are working pretty hard though, so if you're gonna tip them or you're gonna pay them a little bit more, it's not the end of the world, okay? Now, all the ancient ruins in Luxor are just like in Egypt. You go up to an office, you pay your ticket, and then you go in, and you do not need a tour guide. During your walk through these ruins, people are gonna approach you and start talking to you, and eventually they'll want some money for walking around. It's up to you whether you want them or not, okay? Some of them are very helpful, and sometimes you just want to be alone. So you have to be quite clear what you want to do, but be polite. In Luxor, I found one taxi driver that had a connection to everybody, including tours, safari tours, boat tours, everything at a very good discounted price. Much cheaper than what the hotels were quoting. Once you find that person, they can get you the deal on all the different tours you want. I hope you enjoy the lovely country of Egypt. If there's something that helped you out in this, write something in the comment, give me a like and a subscribe. Also, check out my other videos on this channel about traveling in Egypt. Assalamu alaikum.